Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, November 10th, 2023. I'm here with Luke as per usual, and we had a pretty solid week thus far. Little bit of news, some injury news, some guys coming back from injury in the NFL, a solid week in the Champions League, some interesting results. We've got a couple of good fixtures in the Premier League this weekend, and we also have our MLB Awards predictions today. They start rolling out throughout the next week, so figured we'd go ahead and get through those. And yeah, Luke, how are we feeling?
I'm great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, semester kind of winding down, getting into that point where it's all projects now. That's
Mm.
what I'm getting to. It's project last week, project this week, project next week. I got a professor that has a project due on the Monday before Thanksgiving, even though the Monday is when our break at KSU starts.
Well, at
That
least you
seems
guys get
unfair.
Monday. We
Yeah,
we have to be in school until Tuesday, and I actually have stuff to do on Tuesday too. I have class.
yeah. Well, you guys get a 3-day weekend, and we don't. Your little
3 day
fall
weekend.
break.
Come on.
Your little
Oh
fall
yeah,
break.
Georgia, Florida.
Yeah, we don't get that. So we get the full week. But regardless, semester winding down, the season's winding down. We only have 2 full months left of NFL football. Um, yeah, just a whole lot going on. And today, of course, we'll be previewing NFL Week 12 or Week 10. We'll be going through all of our MLB Awards predictions, Premier League weekend, UCL Matchday 4, talking about our favorite matchups there, our favorite results, and then, of course, closing it out with questions time. Luke, are you ready to talk about NFL Week 10?
I can't believe it's already week 10, dude.
I
Like
know.
just the fact that we're in November. Like Thanksgiving is so close.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I'm so excited for the holiday season. So excited to watch some Thanksgiving football. But we got to talk about week 10 first, for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to not talk about in Week 10, particularly Thursday Night Football. That is obviously going to be done and decided when you guys are listening to this, but at the moment it starts at 8:15. That's Panthers Bears. I couldn't be less excited for a matchup.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. Like 1-7 Bryce Young, it's just looking like more and more he may not be the answer. I mean, he definitely has flashes.
Yeah,
But it's
it's hard to tell with this team.
yeah, you can't compare any of them to CJ Stroud though. Like me and my roommate were talking about it, and I know we're not even talking about the Texans right now, but CJ Stroud probably should be like an MVP candidate.
I think he is like on the precipice of being like a serious person to talk about for the award.
Yeah, no, for sure. But anyway, right now we got Panthers, Bears. Um, on prime time. The whole
Yeah.
nation gets to watch this game.
Yeah. Well, like
What they
that.
want.
I keep having to do this where I'm like, okay, put yourself in the shoes of the person I was before this season started and how I viewed these teams.
Yeah.
Panthers Bears going into this season. The Bears are supposed to be this shiny new offense, this brand new team, even though they made no changes. Um, and Justin Fields was supposed to be leading them to winning the NFC North. The Panthers have the number one overall pick. They just got a running back in Miles Sanders. They have J.C. Horn and Brian Burns, who have been fantastic in their young careers on defense. This should have
Yep.
been an exciting team, both of them.
Yeah.
They're
No, I
not.
completely agree with
There's
you.
there's
But they're not
three
at all.
wins combined between these two teams.
And 14 losses.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
uh, I mean, what do we? It's still Tyson Badgett, right?
I think so.
I
Not too
I
sure.
think the Panthers might be en route for win too.
I don't know.
I think so.
We'll see. We'll see. Right now, Justin
We-
Fields is doubtful.
Hmm.
That's all I see. They said
All right. Well, that's
it isn't yet clear if he'll go through a pregame warm up or not. Sick.
yeah.
That
Not
tells
a lot of
me
not a lot to go off there.
that tells me nothing. Um, yeah,
Oh
I
man.
don't care how this game goes. I think the Bears will win only because they're at home.
That is a good shout. Do we know Montez Sweat should be
Yeah,
probably fully ready to
I
play
believe
for
he'll
this
be
one too,
playing.
right?
Yep.
You know what though? That may eliminate my win for the Panthers because I know they haven't been able to keep Bryce Young's jersey clean all season long.
Yeah.
And Montez Sweat is going to eat
Yeah, like this
for sure.
Panthers offensive line would give up sacks to like the Mississippi School for the Deaf and Blind.
Mississippi, huh?
I just chose a random state.
Yeah.
I think
I'm gonna
Mississippi
go.
probably has the most competitive deaf and blind football players, if I had to
That
guess.
you know what? That's awkward. Like weirdly enough, that sounds about
Yeah,
right.
there's some good players out of Mississippi. I don't know
Yeah,
about the
there are
deaf and
certain.
blind ones, but yeah, go ahead and say your prediction.
Um, Bears 13, Carolina 6.
Yeah, that's nasty, and I really like that pick. I'm gonna go Bears 17, Panthers 10. I'll give
Okay.
them a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
all right, let's get into the real meat and potatoes. Sunday. And it all
Yep.
starts off with a game I am not going to watch. 9:30 in the morning Eastern Time at Frankfurt Stadium in Frankfurt, Germany. Colts versus Patriots. The 4-5 Colts versus the 2-7 Patriots. Yeah, there's 0% chance that I get up to watch this game. I might intentionally sleep until 12:30 to miss this game.
Um. Yeah, those poor Germans, man. They did not get a good one. They got
No.
Brady last year. They're getting
They
Gardner
got Patrick
Minshew.
Mahomes. They got Chiefs versus Dolphins last week, and then they give him this.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Um.
Maybe if this was Andrew Luck versus Tom Brady, I'd be interested. It's not.
Yeah. I mean, I will say though, it is interesting on the Indianapolis side how they've been able to. They've dealt with a lot this year with Jonathan Taylor not being around
Yeah.
all season long. Losing Anthony Richardson, who was playing amazing. The Colts, I commend them, or commend them. Is commend
Yeah.
the right word there?
Yeah.
I commend them for being still like an around 500 team for what they've dealt with. And yeah, I think that they're probably going to stomp the Patriots in Germany.
Yeah, I think so as well. The Patriots just have nothing. I think we go through this fight every week of trying to find things to talk about for the Patriots. There is none outside of the struggles. Max Jones sucks. The Kendrick Bourne's out for the season, so there's nothing going on in the receiving game outside of Hunter Henry. Yeah, like there's literally nothing to look for outside of maybe a good game by Jonathan Taylor for the
That's
Colts.
kind of what I'm thinking too. And I remember I have Ramondre Stevenson in one of my fantasy leagues, and I didn't start him last week, and he had a lot of points, and I was like, oh
He
shit.
got
I mean,
one run. He had
yeah,
one
yeah,
good
he
run.
had 9 carries for 87 yards and a touchdown, which means that, like you said, he got
Yeah.
one run. Um, yeah, this is a poor team, man. No run game, no pass game, and a defense that is, I think, good. They just can't, like, their offense is that bad, they just can't keep up.
Yeah, and also injuries have
Yeah,
plagued that defense as well.
and injuries, of course. I think it may have been, it was a good choice for them to get J.C. Jackson back. He played well in New England, but he's not a difference maker at this point in the season. I mean, you're 2-7. You guys are done.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, they're done. I'm gonna take the Colts. I'm gonna go Colts 27, Patriots 14.
I'm going to go Colts 24, Patriots 14.
Okay. Let's get into actually good games though. 1:00, Texans Bengals. I love this matchup, despite the Bengals being a 6.5-point favorite. Burrow versus Stroud. This is like a future of the NFL type matchup in my mind at this point. The thing is for the Bengals is that you need Jamar Chase to feel better. His back injury last week certainly slowed him down. His practice has been a little bit limited this week. And despite them winning a tough game against the Bills, they need him.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, 4 receptions, 41 yards is still not that bad of a game if you're going to have like an off game. But luckily for the Bengals is they have T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and they have Joe Burrow, who you and I talked about it all last season. He loves spreading the ball around.
Yeah.
He's the type of quarterback that I feel like is perfect to have if your star wide receiver is going to be hurt.
Yeah, I agree.
He trusts his other guys, and when your other guys are T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, like I said, you're going to be set with a quarterback like Burrow.
Yeah, T. Higgins kind of starting to turn this season around a little bit later than the rest of his teammates. Um,
Yeah.
but he definitely is, and there's certainly a lot to look for now. The Bengals are certainly heating up at this point. Outside of Joe Mixon, because that's just impossible at this point. He will never be good.
Do they
But
just move on from him, you think?
I would assume they do, even though I
Yeah.
think he's still under contract for like 2 more years.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the big thing to talk about here is the Texans. They have to show something on defense to win this game because, yes, the offense was absurd last week. C.J. Stroud breaking the rookie passing game record or passing record for a single game. They still gave up what 37 points. Like
Yeah,
that
37. Yeah.
is not good. And I'm not worried about Stroud and this offense because he's faced a solid defense. He's faced good pass rushers like Trey Hendrickson already this season, and he's shown very good composure. So I'm not worried about them. Just he's got to do what he did last week and use all of his options very well. Hit Noah Brown, hit, you know, Dalton Schultz outside of just Nico Collins, which is exactly what he did last week. Nico Collins almost never should have the fourth most receiving yards on that team. But when you're just finding other guys open, I have no problem with it at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and to, look at it even further for CJ Stroud, your offense with a rookie quarterback put up 39 points and you only ran the ball 17 times and not very well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely incredible. 470 yards, 5 touchdown passes, only got sacked 3 times. And man, for all the fantasy owners of Dalton Schultz, actually, you and I are one of them, or two of them, because I have him in a different league. Just let's try to get him more consistent, please, because it's kind of brutal trying to predict when to start this guy and when not to. But yeah, CJ Stroud, man, alone 14 touchdowns and 1 interception alone puts you as an MVP candidate in my book.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous, dude. And as a rookie, oh my god. And then if you want to go even further, he did it against the Tampa defense that Tampa's definitely slipping, but still there's some dogs out there. A lot of veterans and a lot of young guys. It's a good mix. And CJ Stroud just was unwavered. 12 incompletions. Like just a ridiculous game.
Yeah. I think when it comes down to this matchup, though, it's going to come down to experience. The Texans all around are a young team. They have a brand new a new head coach, new quarterback, young receivers, a young running back for that matter, and young defensive players. I think they just get out experienced by the Bengals in this game.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, yeah, I really I don't have anything else to add to that except for that I agree. The Texans, I get getting lucky against the Buccaneers, which, would you call it getting lucky? I mean, only 17 rushes were not very well.
I don't think it's lucky. I think C.J. Stroud is just a good quarterback.
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to do that every week.
No,
though.
of course not. Nobody can.
But yeah, it's going to take a lot from the Texans to beat the Bengals, and the Bengals are super hot right now. Too.
Yeah, they are.
So it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Texans defense I just think is not going to show up in this game. I'm going to go Bengals 31, Texans 20.
I'm going to go 27-20 Bengals.
Okay. Let's get into the next game, Saints Vikings. In this one, normally I would hate this game, but this one's kind of interesting. Josh Dobbs now has a win and a week of practice under his belt for the Vikings, And the Saints aren't bad, per se. My issue with the Saints is that their offense and how they approach every game is ever changing. And I don't know if that's good or bad for them. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point because you saw last week against a really bad Bears team. Alvin
yeah,
Kamara only rushed the ball 9 times, and
yeah,
4 receptions is good for a running back, but honestly, not really what we would expect from Alvin Kamara. Yeah, so I like that point that you made there. Is that they aren't very consistent. They might be 5-4 with a pretty good offense with Olave, Kamara, and Michael Thomas, but they never win the same way, which is I
yeah.
feel like is kind of unique.
And Michael Thomas was useless last week.
Yeah, big time.
But yeah,
Big
like when it
time use.
comes down to this game, it's like, okay, well, we look at last week and the Bears have a bad defense and you threw the ball quite a bit and you outrushed or you gave Taysom Hill the ball more than you gave Alvin Kamara the ball, which is absurd. Um, Now you go up against the Vikings team that also doesn't have the best defense, but certainly has a good one. We certainly saw them slow down the run game of the Falcons last week. I'm not talking about that game. Actually, I will talk about it when we talk about the Falcons. But they slowed them down. If the Saints want to do anything in this game, first of all, get to Josh Dobbs quickly, which they've had a problem with. This pass rush has not been very good this year. But if they can get to Josh Dobbs quickly, that's going to make a world of a difference for them because that's what the Falcons failed at last week. They let Dobbs float around a little bit too much, and it ended up getting the Vikings a win. I think the Saints can win this game, though.
Yeah, I think they can too, even with Justin Jefferson coming back, because
Yeah.
we don't know what Justin Jefferson's going to look like with Joshua Dobbs. At quarterback for them. And another thing I want to add to what you were saying about the Saints defense is limiting the scramble.
Yeah.
The scramble really hurt the Falcons on that game-winning drive that he put together. Because he should not have converted that fourth down, Josh Dobbs, in my opinion. And yeah, like you have Marshawn Lattimore. He's a more than serviceable cornerback, even against Justin Jefferson. I feel like Marshawn Lattimore can hold his own, especially with Tyrann Mathieu maybe over the top on a lot of plays.
Yeah.
I can definitely see how the Saints can win this game, but you're not going to be able to get them if Taysom Hill is getting more carries than Kamara. Keep the Vikings offense off the field by running the ball a lot. That would be my 2 cents, and maybe give Jamal Williams some carries too if you're going to use Kamara a shit ton, which I think they should.
Yeah, I agree. Score prediction wise, I'm gonna go with a close one. I'm gonna say Saints 21, Vikings 17.
I'm going to go 24 Saints, Vikings 21.
Okay, let's move on to the next game, Packers versus Steelers. And it feels like the Steelers should just stomp them. But will they? This Steelers team is so confusing.
It is. It definitely is.
I think you guys have a problem with playing down to your opponents. Would you agree?
Yeah, under Mike Tomlin, even whenever we had like a consistent playoff team, like I don't know, 2014 to like 2019, I guess you could say, maybe even 2020. Mike Tomlin's team has always played down to people.
Yeah, even in and it's mainly in your wins. In the 5 wins the Steelers have, what their biggest margin of victory has been like 7.
Yeah, they're all one possession games.
Yeah, like that's concerning. But what you might get lucky with is that the Packers have been really bad. Jordan Love's been turning the ball over at an alarming rate. They finally get a big win over the Rams, all things considered, but a lot of field goals, a lot of settling in that game. But before that, they're coming off of a 4-game losing streak that included games against the Raiders and the Broncos, which are just games you shouldn't lose. And similar to what I talked about with the Texans, I just think the Packers are going to get out-experienced in this game.
Yeah, and to kind of like narrow down the out experiences, Jordan Love, like he is going up against like one of the worst defenses for him. Like I think I don't
Yeah,
know the stat, but Mike Tomlin has an amazing stat against rookie quarterbacks, which obviously Jordan Love isn't a rookie anymore, but he's I
essentially.
would say he's new to being a starter,
That
definitely.
is true.
Yeah. And I just feel like, he's going up against a defense that is not only really good, but also pretty scary, very physical. We've been very good at getting interceptions this year, which doesn't bode well for Jordan Love either. Um, and yeah, just the Steelers' defense is just this perfect combination of pass rush and picks, and I feel like that could murder Jordan Love in this game. And
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think this will be our first game where we win more than one possession.
Okay.
Because I mean, Aaron Jones coming off of a pretty good week for him, 20 carries, 73 yards, and a touchdown. I don't think that's going to be enough to beat the Steelers. I think the Steelers are actually going to do a really good job against Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. It just comes down to what we can do offensively. Can we create enough separation in score? Can we score when we don't have to? Does that
Yeah.
make sense? I
No,
feel
I
like the
agree.
Steelers only score if they're down or if we're like tied. We need to
Yeah.
score when we don't have to score. So, yeah, score prediction. I'm going to take the Steelers. I'm going to go 21. I'm going to go 21-10.
Okay. Okay. Before I do my score prediction, I want to get your read on George Pickens right now. What's the deal? I know
Oh,
you're
that's
kind of
huge.
locked in, plugged in with the Steelers fans. So
Yeah.
please let me know what
Yeah,
the idea is right now on George Pickens.
dude, I don't know, man, because he unfollowed the Instagram.
Yeah.
He posted like the free me. And we definitely knew what we were getting with George Pickens. He's not like, I don't want to say troubled, but I feel like he's a very emotional
Yeah.
football player.
He's
And,
just
and
kind
I
of like a loose cannon type of guy. He's
yeah,
gonna go off on his own and just kind of do his own thing. If you don't like it, then to him, you're just saying like "fuck you." And
yeah,
if you do like it, then he feeds off the intensity. We saw that at Georgia. There were times
yeah,
where Kirby was all for his antics, whatever, because it gets all the guys to rally behind him. There's other times where you throw a Georgia Tech player into a wall and you get ejected when you're up by like 30 points. He does the
yeah.
same thing in the NFL, but that doesn't slide with the Steelers and it doesn't slide with other organizations either.
No, and it comes down to our coaches, man. Like we just got to make sure that he's with the blueprint. And I'm completely with Mike Tomlin. I think one of my favorite Mike Tomlin quotes is, "We don't hold hostages." I would rather lose with a team that cared about the Steelers than win with a team that didn't.
Yeah.
I I am 100% perfectly fine with losing George Pickens if these antics continue and they only get worse.
I
And
agree.
I know that sounds crazy because I love the guy. His catch and traffic ability at like this point in his career is just way ahead of what it should be, in my opinion.
Yeah, but he shouldn't have a
Um,
god complex about it.
no,
Like
he definitely should.
he was getting mad that Deontay Johnson got that pass for the touchdown when on the
Yeah,
last play he's the one that fucking dropped it.
yeah, yeah. And to go even further with that, Deontay Johnson hadn't caught a touchdown since Ben Roethlisberger. That's your
Yeah.
teammate. That's someone that you don't even necessarily compete with. Y'all are both starters. Why not like be happy for him? That's a big moment
Yeah.
for Deontay Johnson.
I think he needs the spotlight. He needs something to feed off of. And
Yeah,
when he has it's crazy because when he has bad games, he doesn't feed off of it. He doesn't take anything from it. It doesn't seem like. And when he has great games, he gets complacent the next week. It's as if he can't have two straight weeks where he is satisfied with his performance or at least
yeah.
does something to show it.
Exactly. But yeah, overall, I love George Pickens. Obviously with me being at UGA, I mean, he got drafted to the Steelers like, you know, not too far after I found out that like I was accepted there. which
Yeah.
I thought was very cool. Um, and I want us to do everything we can to keep him, but like like I said, if the antics continue and then progress and get worse, I mean, you know, see you later.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. My score prediction, I'm going to go pretty low scoring. I'm going to go Steelers 20, Packers 7.
Okay,
Our
nice.
next game, though, I kind of like. Call me a sicko. I like it. Titans, Buccaneers. Both
Oh,
teams are 3-5, but this is all about the QB play. And I know,
yeah.
like, that seems obvious that, like, yeah, the QB play is going to be a big deal in this football game. But I think in this matchup in particular, it is way bigger than many matchups because Will Levis has the opportunity to be fantastic, or he could play like last week where he was just like okay, not good, not horrible, but he was okay, and that's
Uh,
not going to win.
for your second game to be against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense with Mike Tomlin's rookie quarterback record, I thought Will Levis. I think Richard Sherman said it best in the post game. He said something that like it's not your fantasy football game, but like if you watch that game, Will Levis was fucking awesome.
I watched the
In
game
my
and
opinion.
he passed accurately. My issue was that maybe it wasn't his fault, but it just seemed like the weapons didn't back him up. DeAndre
Yeah, and I
Hopkins
think that's very
was,
fair.
I think, 11 targets, 4 receptions. Like,
Yeah,
that's an
Joey Porter
issue.
Jr. Baby.
Yeah, Joey Porter Jr. was all over him. But, like, that's a
Yeah,
kind of guy that should be making a difference and should be helping out this quarterback. So maybe it's not as much that Will Levis had a bad game, as much as just the Titans' offense kind of fell flat. But I still think that, obviously, it's nowhere close to what his debut looked like 2 weeks ago. I just think he has to look for options outside of D Hop, here and there, at least.
that, that
Because
is fair. That is fair.
yeah, like there's other guys on this team. Of course, Traylon Burks is now out, but you still have Westbrook Akeen. You still have Kyle Phillips, Chigozie McConkwo. There's multiple other guys on this team that you can look at. You can run the ball a little bit more too, at least against the Buccaneers. But like the Titans certainly just like aren't out of it in this game, and neither are the Buccaneers. For the Buccaneers, I think there's a they have to find the right number of passes for Baker. I know they lost last week, but he threw the perfect amount of passes. 30 passes is his number for sure. Anything more and it feels like he's forcing it. Anything less and it feels like you're running too much. I think last week was perfect, but Chris Godwin needs to figure some things out if he wants more targets. And
Yeah.
Mike Evans is going to get the ball regardless, and Cade Otton has earned his targets. So
Yeah.
there's guys on that field, just like for the Titans, that can be used. It's just about how efficiently does the quarterback use them. Because if you're throwing to Chris Godwin the most out of your wide receivers and he's not producing, you got to switch it up. And they didn't do that last week.
Yeah, no, Chris Godwin did get more targets than Mike Evans. Kate Otten obviously leading the way in
Yeah.
targets with 9. Um, I don't know with the amount of weapons that Tampa Bay has in their pass game. I honestly would like to see Baker throw the ball more. But then again, in saying that, you have Rashad White who had 20 carries, 73 yards, and 2 touchdowns last week. And he had a good game in receiving as well.
Yeah.
It's they. I honestly think, like, to your point, against the Texans, they played like a perfect offensive game as far as like giving Baker, like you said, the right amount of attempts, and also Rashad White. I mean, 20 carries, I feel like is what you look for
Yeah.
like a running back to have a good game. That's, I mean, perfect there. But maybe lean more to the pass. I mean, Mike Evans only 4 receptions. There has to be more than that. There also has to be more than 5 targets as well.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure, what happened in that game to have Cade Otton get 9 targets, but like you said,
He was
he
just getting
deserves,
open.
yeah, he deserves his flowers for sure. Um, yeah, no, this is definitely going to be the battle of the quarterbacks here. But Will Levis again, he not last week, but he is still going up against a very very tough defense.
Yeah, he is. I think what it comes down to, outside of the quarterback play is just going to be the defense, and I trust this Buccaneers defense way more. So I'm going to go Buccaneers 21, Titans 20.
Wow, I like that. I'm gonna go Buccaneers 23, Titans 17.
Okay. Let's get into the next game. I really like this matchup. 49ers versus Jags. Oddly, I don't know why I'm going into this game thinking that this is the time for San Fran to redeem themselves. Because they keep losing to teams that nobody would have thought they would lose to. Like you lose to the Browns with PJ Walker. You never thought that would have happened. You lose to the Vikings, which not many people saw coming either. And then you lose to the Bengals, which could have happened, but definitely didn't see it happening in that fashion. 31-17. They get the bye week. They refresh. A couple of guys come back from injury, like Debo and Dre Greenlaw. Trent Williams still questionable, but Debo and Dre Greenlaw full participants in Wednesday's practice. My only problem is that the Jags are good. Like I can't count them out. The Jaguars are very good.
Yep. Yep.
I think Trevor Lawrence is at this point where he's like just about to reach like superstar level. Like we all know he's a great quarterback. He's had good performances. Now, year 3, second year of being very good, he's getting to that point.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
Go ahead.
This one's an interesting one, man. I don't know really what to think of. I don't know what to think of the 49ers with their losses anymore. It's difficult because Jacksonville's coming off of a bye week too. Pretty sure. They're
No,
both
just
coming off.
a long week, I believe. But didn't they play Thursday night last week? Or was that 2 weeks ago?
The Steelers played Thursday night.
Oh, shit. What game am I thinking of? Their last game was against the Steelers. So
Yeah.
I guess 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we got two teams coming off of a bye. I don't know if because I'm going back to this Bengals and 49ers game. Jamar Chase, 10 receptions, 100 yards against the 49ers. I don't know if any of the Jacksonville receivers can match that.
Yeah.
At least, like, they're definitely capable, but they're not consistent enough to make me think that they can. And honestly, I'd go as far as to say that I don't think Trevor Lawrence is as consistent as people really give him the credit like he is. So I think the 49ers are looking to kind of break their losing streak here. I'm thinking San Francisco.
Yeah, I am as well. I do have to say, like, Etienne for the Jags seems to be taking quite a big step forward now.
Yeah.
He's been great in the receiving game, has been the big thing to me. He's got 272 yards after the catch, and he's only got 27 receptions. So he's essentially getting 10 yards every time he catches the ball. After he catches the ball, he's got a first down, which is absurd.
That's after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big factor for me with his play because obviously he's running the ball super well. I still think they maybe need to lessen the amount of carries he's getting, give a couple more to the other guys, take a little stress off of him. But I don't make the decisions. I still like the 49ers here for some reason. Maybe it's just this same idea of watching the first 5 weeks where they didn't lose and they looked dominant. But I got to ride with San Francisco. I'm going to go San Fran 24, Jags 21.
I'm going to go San Francisco 24, Jacksonville 17.
Okay. Let's get into the last game of the 4 o'clock slate, Browns-Ravens. I think this game is going to be a whole lot more competitive than the last time. DTR starting for the Browns the last time. Didn't go too well. But the Ravens are great. Like, they are unbelievably good. And what I hope the most for the Ravens is that Keaton Mitchell is not a 1-week wonder. Because that performance last week was amazing.
That was ridiculous. I'm just getting my stuff here.
Well, then I'll go ahead and bring up Gus Edwards as well. The guy's unstoppable. 6 touchdowns in 2 games. Crazy.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Five touchdowns, I think. Either way, ridiculous. And if you can balance Keaton Mitchell's explosive ability and Gus Edwards' ability to just find the end zone, you don't even need to throw the ball.
No, not at all. I mean, like if I told you Lamar Jackson went 21-20 for 26, under 200 passing yards against Seattle, and they still won by 34 points,
Yeah.
no touchdowns, ridiculous. Had a good game on the ground as well against Seattle too. This Ravens team, they just have it all. I mean, and especially it's going to help out when you have really good contribution from Odell too. Like Zay Flowers kind of had an off day against Seattle, but Odell picked it right back up, 5 receptions, 56 yards, and his touchdown. And Mark Andrews is probably top 3 tight end in the league right now.
Yeah,
so
looks really good.
They just look so amazing offensively and defensively, and they have just ridiculous sack capability and turnover capability on their team. They're looking like one of the more better, well-rounded teams in the NFL right now, I would say.
All right, sorry about that. Luke now has headphones on, so I don't hear myself talking. But what I was trying to say, the Ravens' passing game can be an issue. They've had some games where it just isn't quite up to speed, and they get bailed out by the running game. If the Browns' running defense is as good as it has been this season, and they can't run the ball well, you're going to need to see a much better performance out of Zay Flowers in particular. I need him to get into open space. I need him to have sure hands in this game, and that has been a problem in other games, especially more recently. Obviously, Mark Andrews, we kind of know what he can do. Odell is just there for a few passes a game, but I think it's really up to Zay Flowers to be a difference maker if they can't run the ball well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Even I guess when the Ravens look good, they look like the most well-rounded team in the NFL. But like you pointed out, like they definitely do have some flaws. If it comes like the perfect storm where they can't really run the ball that well and they can't really pass the ball that well, you're gonna have a tough time against Cleveland, especially with Deshaun Watson back. It's gonna be really, really hard to beat these guys.
Yeah,
really, really hard.
But I do think the Browns still have some things to fix, on their side. If they want to beat this defense, which has been one of the best in the league, they need to figure out early if they're running the ball or not, because they seem to find themselves in close games early in the game, and they just keep running the ball, and it just slips away from them. Like, you have a great quarterback in Deshaun Watson. You have Amari Cooper. You have David Njoku. See what they can do early in the game. See if they can get you a lead so that you can justify running the ball, because you don't have the most efficient runners, but you have some guys that run really well near the end zone, like Kareem Hunt. You have Jerome Ford, who can fight for a few extra yards here and there. Use it. Like, use that to your advantage, but set it all up with the passing game.
Yeah, completely agree.
But for this one, I think the Ravens are too good. I'm going to have to go Baltimore 24, Browns 14.
2-possession game.
Yep.
I listen. I like this Cleveland team. I mean, fuck the Browns, but I like this Cleveland team. I'm going to pick them again. Last time I picked them to upset, they beat the 49ers. They were the first team to do it and started their little skid. So I'm going to pick the Browns again. I'm going to go 24-21, super close AFC North game.
All right. We start the 4 o'clock slate, and I'm just going to need you to let me go free on Falcons Cardinals.
Yeah, we got it.
First off, I don't know what the hell's going to happen in this game, and that's concerning because the Cardinals have one win, but James Conner getting closer to returning. Not too sure if he'll be back for this one, but Kyler is back. He is starting. Does that mean anything? I don't know, but I know a whole lot more about the Falcons. I guess Jonnu Smith is the best player on the Falcons. Obviously. Who would have thought that when you have 3 skill position players on your team that you drafted in the top 10 the last 3 years, you just wouldn't use them. Obviously, Drake London was hurt last week. But Kyle Pitts, no usage. Jonnu Smith getting 10 times the targets. Kyle Pitts hasn't had more than 6 targets in, I believe, 5 games. That's ridiculous. There's so many other problems. Bijan not getting the ball is crazy, but the defense is great. Love it. The offensive penalties are killing me. Like, they are genuinely killing me. First, just in the first half against the Vikings last week, we committed 3 offensive penalties, which doesn't seem that bad. 5 penalties in total, but one of them being Van Jefferson, who I said on Monday's episode, I would love nothing more than for him to never play in a Falcons jersey ever again. He committed an offensive pass interference that took away a 4th down conversion that would have put us on the Minnesota 30 at the end of the first quarter. Obviously, we end up getting the flag, which pushes us back, which takes us out of field goal range. So you can't kick the field goal, you punt. We end up getting a safety off the punt, but 10 times out of 10, I'm taking a touchdown over a safety. And then one of the other offensive penalties in the first half was Chris Lindstrom's false start on the first play of a drive where we started on the Vikings 1-yard line after a fumble recovery. And we finished that drive with a field goal. 4 plays, -4 yards. That's the difference maker. We lost by 3 points. If you could have either gotten a touchdown when Van Jefferson fucked up the 4th down conversion, or you could have gotten a touchdown instead of Chris Lindstrom false starting and then the offense just totally falling flat because Arthur Smith doesn't know how to play call in the red zone, we would have been fine. In that, everything that I just went through is what loses games. Week by week, that's what loses games for the Falcons. And if Arthur Smith wants to keep his job, he needs to learn how to utilize the talent on this team, because if he doesn't, it's not going to be his team by the end of this season, 100%. There's too much talent for this Falcons team, honestly, to be below 500 at this point. From what we saw in the first couple of weeks, from what we've seen from Bijan Robinson, what we've seen from Drake London, now from Taylor Heineke has shown flashes, and what we've seen from this defense, there's zero excuses for us to be 4-5, but he never ceases to just give the ball to Cordero Patterson for fucking nothing and just continue to feed Tyler Algier while meanwhile, a guy that we just picked in the top 10 who's supposed to be this generational talent who has made highlight play after highlight play in the first 4 weeks of the season, honestly, 6 weeks of the season, he's just standing on the sidelines watching. I don't get it. So yeah, at this moment, Arthur Smith fired. And Kyle Pitts.
First, Grayson Rosen has just fired Arthur Smith from the
Atlanta Falcons. And if we don't draft a quarterback, Kyle Pitts is totally going to the fucking Chiefs. Yeah, I digress.
All right. Well, it's unfortunate for Falcons fans because in 2 weeks in a row, which we haven't seen since week 1 and week 2, the Falcons have put up more than 20 points against their team. The difference is in weeks 1 and 2 in the Panthers and Packers, the Falcons won both of those games.
Yeah.
The Falcons in week 9 and 8 have lost to the Titans and then the Vikings after putting up 23 against the Titans and 31 against the Vikings. It's just, I'm completely with you. I think the Falcons are a sneakily good team, but it's just coming down to, really play calling and honestly, kind of just defensive lapses that lead to, really, really good plays offensively for whoever they're playing against. But yeah, it's just very frustrating. I can imagine that, you guys have put up 23 and 28 in back-to-back weeks, which I would say, with a quarterback led by Heineke or Ritter, it's that 23 points, 28 points is pretty damn good, especially with how the defense looked earlier in the season.
Yeah.
But, they just haven't been able to get it done 2 weeks in a row, and they're, definitely slipping.
Yeah.
I liked your rant. That was a good rant.
Yeah, with the defense, it's yes, they are giving up points, but a lot of times it's just the offense capitalizing on moments. And also, the last 2 weeks, we've played guys that aren't the guys that have been playing quarterback all year. That we've run into 2 weeks in a row. We're about to run into it for the 3rd week in a row.
Yep.
But yes, we got a week to game plan for Jaron Hall, and then he goes out with a concussion super early in the game. Now we have to see Josh Dobbs, who didn't even know the playbook himself. Like, he hadn't even really practiced with the team. He's out there
Yeah,
teaching his offensive lineman his cadence on the sidelines before he
that's
goes in the game.
ridiculous.
And then that just gives him the opportunity to scramble for extra yardage multiple times, run for that touchdown, just kind of go out there and just play instead of running a real game plan. And of course, that's going to kill the defense. And kind of the same thing goes against Levis. It was like there is zero film because he barely played in the preseason, and he
Mhm.
hasn't came in any of the games this season. And then he just is starting miraculously. And now we have to deal with DeAndre Hopkins and Will Levis creating some ridiculous connection. But yeah, overall, I'm sure the Falcons will win this game just because the Cardinals don't want to win football games. Um, but yeah, I don't think I still don't think the offense is going to look good until we start incorporating the pieces that are important.
Yeah, that's fair. And on the Arizona side, I literally have nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't
Last week
matter.
was yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter. I have
Yeah,
nothing to say about the Arizona
the
Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals. Nothing about the Arizona Cardinals matters at all.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, what matters is that they're probably going to end up sticking to Kyler Murray, and drafting like Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, poor Clayton Tune had to play against the Browns and got sacked 7 times.
Yeah, that sucks.
Might be the only NFL game he ever sees.
Yeah, yeah, that
Ah,
is tough.
damn.
Final
You know what? It's
score.
gonna be tough for Kyler Murray, in my opinion, too. I mean,
I think
the
so.
Falcons, regardless of the points they've given up in the last 2 weeks, they're still going to be a tough. They're a tough defensive line to go against.
Yeah,
So I think they could give Kyler some trouble. Jesse Bates is healthy, right?
I believe so.
I mean, he's proven to be still one of the best safeties in the league, even with Atlanta. Um, I'm taking Atlanta in this one. I think it's going to be like a 17-3 Atlanta.
Wow, not giving Kyler the benefit of the doubt.
No.
I'm gonna go Falcons. I gotta feel, man. I don't even know. Pass. I'm passing. I'm passing.
Is this the first pass on a score
Yeah, this
prediction?
is the
Second
first
quarter history?
pass on a score prediction because I don't want to say what I think's gonna happen. So we're moving on. Lions, Chargers. Give me the Lions by a million. 100.
Really?
Yes. Amon Ra and
A
Sam
million.
Laporta are about to have. There is such an insane game.
Yeah, I mean, and Dan Campbell figured out that Jahmyr Gibbs is a pretty good running back too.
Yeah.
That's not looking too good.
Yeah, and the thing that bodes well the best for the Lions is that the Chargers offense looks good on paper until you watch them play football, and they are the most inefficient they ever could be. Austin Eckler had a run for 20 yards and a run for 17 yards last week. So that means outside of those 2 runs, he had 12 carries for 10 yards.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also caught 2 of his 7 targets last week. So throw away that whole thing where he put up like 1,000 receiving yards last year, because that's obviously an issue as well. And then Quentin Johnston is useless. He cannot get into space. He can't make a catch in traffic. So it's all down to Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert just could not find anybody against the Jets last week, and I don't see it changing.
No, I don't either. Yeah, like you said, they're just really really good on paper.
Yeah.
I when it comes to the Chargers, man, I've said it so many times on this podcast, but I just haven't been able to predict them, even like pre-podcast times. Like, back to like Phillip Rivers and Melvin Gordon days. Like, yeah, it looked good on paper, but they just can't. I don't know if it's like a cohesive thing. I don't know if it's a play calling thing. I have no clue what's going on in
I
LA,
definitely
and I
think
haven't for a long time.
I think Brandon Staley's the problem. Like he's
Okay.
certainly going to get fired if they end up under 500 this year, but I don't know. I think it's just like a systemic problem with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, but I do want to highlight this. How about how Keenan Allen hit 10,000 receiving yards? Did you see that
Yeah,
catch?
that was
Oh my
sick.
God, that
Keenan
was a
Allen
cool way
is
to get
awesome.
10,000. Yeah, yeah. Keenan Allen is very, very awesome. Man, you know what though? I feel like this team could be in a little bit of a different position if they still had Mike
Yep,
Williams healthy.
I agree.
Definitely. Probably, after this season, you kind of got to wonder why you fought for Austin Eckler so hard.
Yeah, yeah,
Honestly. But yeah, Austin Eckler needs to go. Quentin Johnson, like you said, was probably a waste of a pick. Um, they have good defensive players on paper. Like they absolutely ate up the Jets. I mean, 8 sacks against Zach Wilson. That was unbelievable. Obviously between Joey Bosa, who had 2.5, Khalil Mack had 2, and then Tuli Troy Polamalu had 2 sacks in that game as well. I don't know. It's a Hawaiian name. Always go to Polamalu if you can't pronounce it.
right. What
But
are you talking about?
Tuli,
For who?
The Chargers on defense.
Oh, I believe it's Tui Pelutu,
Peluto.
Pelotu. Yeah, Tui
Yeah.
Pelotu. He came from USC.
Anyway,
He got drafted this year.
yeah, USC and their Hawaiian guys, man, never ceases to fail.
All the Pac-12.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point too. But I really like what they have defensively. I like Derwin James. I like Kenneth Murray. I like Bosa, Mack. Asante Samuel Jr. is great, and Eric Kendricks is great. I just, for some reason,
It doesn't
I
work.
don't think you can. Yeah, you can't rely on them defensively either. So the Chargers, when they step out on the field, you're kind of just banking on whatever the fuck to happen with them.
Yeah.
And then on the Lions side is they're just gonna kill them. They're just going to murder them.
Yeah.
I have really nothing else to add.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Lions 28, Chargers 17.
I'm gonna go Lions 35, Chargers 14.
Okay. Let's get
game.
into the next game, a division matchup, but it doesn't matter. Giants Cowboys. It's gonna be bad. Bad, really bad.
Bad how?
Bad. Tommy DeVito's starting is how. Maybe not 40-0. Bad. Maybe the Cowboys get an early lead. They just kind of run it out.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be fun.
No. I honestly, I think out of all of our mid-season or preseason like predictions, I had the Giants the most wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I really did not think this was going to happen. Somebody saved Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it sucks that Daniel Jones is out, and not only is he out for the rest of the season, but I almost am now doubting him as franchise quarterback level.
Yeah.
I don't
think
know.
that's fair.
I don't know what happened to him this season, and they're going up against a division rival that has already murdered them already.
Yeah.
I said already twice there to really make sure that y'all knew that they already murdered them.
It already happened.
CeeDee Lamb is coming off of an almost 200-yard game performance. Jake Ferguson is a fantastic tight end with Dallas. He's really cemented himself the past couple weeks. And, you've proven you don't even need Tony Pollard anymore.
Yeah,
So,
I wish they did. I really wish they needed Tony Pollard.
Honestly,
but,
yeah.
like, if you want to know how this game's going to go, this is one of the few times I will say, let Vegas tell you exactly how this game's going to go. The line is 17, and this is an NFL game.
Holy shit.
There you go. I'm going to take the Cowboys 34-10.
I'm actually going to predict a goose egg. Okay, that's fair. I'm going to go a goose egg for New York. I'm going to go 27-0 Cowboys.
Okay. Next game, Commanders, Seahawks. I kind of like it.
I do too.
I like it.
I do too.
Okay, fun question for you. Who actually has the best quarterback in this matchup?
I'm rocking with Sam Howell. I think
too.
Geno Smith has had an off year, and Sam Howell is like. I think what's crazy to talk about with the Commanders, Grayson, is they're finally not losing because of quarterback play.
Yes, they're losing because
Which
of
is a
everything else.
massive step in the right direction for the Commanders looking forward. And yeah, like I said, going back to Geno, he just hasn't been it like he was last year. So yeah, my answer to your question is Sam Howell for sure.
Okay, good. Yeah. Another question: can we consider it an off year for Geno Smith, or is he just not good anymore?
You know, with him kind of having like an abnormally good season last year, I think maybe that was just kind of like an asterisk to his career.
I think this
maybe
year,
he's not that great.
Like, obviously, he had bad years in the past.
Yes.
This year seems to be what Geno Smith should be.
Yes.
Last year was exaggerated. This year, probably properly rating him. But yeah, Sam Howell is actually good. The defense obviously is struggling. They couldn't get any sacks last week without their two edge rushers. Yeah, It's kind of hard when you trade away both your starters. You just leave Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne to get double teamed in the middle. Like I think Seattle has the more complete team to win this game, but maybe give Kenneth Walker the ball.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
And maybe test out DK for, give him a couple targets. If he's not catching the ball, don't fucking throw to him because he has been just as bad as Chris Godwin about catching the ball.
I think one's worse than the other.
I think Chris Godwin does it every week. But
yeah,
when you look at like how DK, like in DK's bad games, he's Chris Godwin.
Yeah. I don't know. DK's been on like a fast decline. I feel like I'm kind of worried about what the rest of his career looks like.
There's too many good players on this offense for him.
The fact that Tyler Lockett looks more consistent than DK Metcalf, and to be fair, JSN the past couple weeks is very concerning to me.
Yeah. I think they should throw to Jake Bobo more, personally. He's looked good.
Okay. He has looked good.
This game,
Sick last name.
I don't know. The Commanders just look so incomplete without any defensive help. So I'm gonna go Seattle 28, Commanders 21.
I'm going to go Commanders 24, Seattle 17.
Okay. Big upset, considering Seattle's a 6.5-point favorite.
How?
Don't know.
I don't understand.
All right, Sunday Night Football. Yeah, I'm
Grayson, lay it on me. We got a good one. It's Sunday Night Football. Who's playing?
Yeah. Two great teams, man. Jets, Raiders. Woo!
Woo-hoo. Got some big markets in here. Vegas, New York.
I'm literally on the verge of throwing up thinking about how this game's going to go. After watching Zach Wilson and like Robert Saleh is just like openly talking shit about him in the media, like this is going to be a disaster. And then we already know the disaster that the Raiders are. Jesus. I don't even know what to think.
I like the Raiders. I think their whole locker room is up.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody looks happier. They're smoking cigars after absolutely XP farming on the Giants, 30-6 game.
Max Crosby was smoking just a plain, like literally just a backwoods with tobacco in it.
Yeah, and he was rapping like only part of the lyrics because he doesn't know all of them. I thought that was hilarious.
That's also funny.
That's hilarious. But I like the Raiders right now. I think they got a good momentum. The locker room is turned around. They really like this fucking coach. I'm gonna take Oakland just because of Oakland. I'm gonna take Vegas just because they just seem to be up right now.
Yeah.
Good spirit over there.
Like the Jets defense is undoubtedly amazing, and the Raiders offense has certainly not been good. But I can't believe in Zach Wilson right now. This one seems
No.
just so bad. I'm gonna go Jets, maybe. Yeah, Jets 13, Raiders 10.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I could find something real fast. Dang it, I can't find it, but Antonio Pierce, there was a story that came out about something that he did like with a high school team that he coached or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
I don't know, it was some like crazy punishment just to kind of like attest to how serious he is, but I think with Zach Wilson getting sacked 8 times, we're looking at maybe a good game for Max Crosby and not a good game for Zach Wilson. So I'm gonna go Jets 9, Raiders 21.
Oh, okay.
Yep. 3 field goals for New York.
All right. Monday Night Football. Woo! Should be a good game, right? Broncos Bills in Buffalo.
Not even big markets.
No. It feels like the Bills should just handle business. I don't know if they can after watching what they did last week. Like how they played last week.
The Steelers have a better record than the Buffalo Bills right now.
That's true. I'm not saying the Broncos are going to win this game, but I'm not going to say they can't. You know what I like? It's not going to be as crazy of a result as you think.
No, not at all. I don't know, man. I'm still going Buffalo. I think if Buffalo scores 18, they have a good chance to beat the Broncos. Normally. I love last game for Buffalo. Yeah, they did lose to Cincinnati, but Alton Kincaid, 10 receptions off of 11 targets. That's really special.
Oh yeah.
They just have to run the ball more consistently. Like, yeah, James Cook is. I don't really know if I'd call him good yet. I don't. I don't know if I can call him good. Or maybe
I'd
just
say
not giving him the right opportunities.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He's not in an offense that's going to run the ball all that much to him.
No.
And I don't think he's quite found his usage in the receiving game just yet. Like hasn't really found a role there. But like to me, this, oh man, I think like Bills 21 sounds good enough to win. I'm gonna go Bills 21, Broncos 14.
I'm actually going to match you on that.
Okay.
I think that's the perfect scoreline. I want to ask you this, though. How much of Leonard Fournette are we going to see?
2 carries.
2 carries? Yeah, it probably is too cold for him. So
yeah.
That was ridiculous. Did you?
Yeah, I saw the shorts.
He said it was too cold. Well, yeah, his legs look ridiculous, but he said it was too cold. But like I don't know, like the day that he posted that, like the low for Buffalo, I think it was like 40 or like 50 something degrees there. Like, buddy,
think about the teams he's played on. He played for LSU. Played for LSU, and then he went to Jacksonville, and then he went further south to Tampa.
Yeah, so he's in for a rude awakening, like probably in like a couple weeks.
Yeah, just wait for him to play. Okay, let's see Bills. Let's look at the Bills schedule real quick. Oh, dude, he's gonna play so good at the Chargers.
Oh yeah, he's gonna feed off the heat.
Yeah, that's gonna be Lenny's game. All right, well that is the week. 4 teams on bye: Chiefs, Rams, Dolphins, Eagles. A lot of good teams.
No more Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
no more Taylor Swift. Unless they're together. If they're together in the bye week, it'll just be the same thing.
That's true, but like they can't even attend an Eagles game because both the Kelseys are on bye.
Yep.
Yeah, there's I lucked out in fantasy with this being the people on bye. I'll just say that. Sorry, Ronnie.
How so?
Ronnie's team is very, very much Eagles and Rams players.
Okay.
Yeah, so I lucked
Yeah.
out. I think at the moment I'm projected to win by 15.
Hmm.
I think. Yeah,
Nice.
that's neither here nor there. Luke, are you ready to talk about our MLB Awards predictions?
I am super excited to get into this. I think we're going to have some great discussion here.
I agree. So, yeah, all nominees are released. We'll name the list of nominees first for each award, and then we'll talk our winners. So we'll start American League Rookie of the Year. You have Tanner Bibby of the Cleveland Guardians, Tristan Cassis of the Red Sox, and Gunnar Henderson of the Baltimore Orioles. Luke, who is your winner?
I went basic here. I just think it's Gunnar Henderson. I mean,
Yeah,
28 home. Actually, let me get this more in front of my face so I can read it better. 28 home runs, 82 ribbies, solid. Batting average of 255, but an OPS of 814. Ridiculous. And then I wanted to add he was defensively solid as well. Yeah, he has it for me. I mean, just his and also team success too. I want to throw in there as well.
yeah,
But way more than the other two guys. And you can actually
yeah.
say that a lot of the Orioles' success did come from Gunnar, too. It wasn't like he was just a player in there. He was one of the bigger players of that team. So I like Gunnar here a lot.
Yeah, I like Gunnar as well. Gunner's my guy for this. I wish I could say Tanner Bibby would win that 2.98 ERA, 10-4, like a 3.6 WAR as a rookie, only starting 25 games. That's fantastic. And 141 strikeouts and 142 innings pitched is amazing. WHIP, amazing, 1.176. There's just so much hype for Gunnar, and he's a position player, which really helps him out for Rookie of the Year. Um, I love Tanner Bibby. I love what he did this season. Um, just he kind of got unlucky.
Yeah.
Just not on a good team, not a lot of run support, a lot of no decisions in his starts. So yeah, it's got to go to Gunnar for me.
All right. Nice.
In the National League, I think it's possibly the easiest decision of all the awards. It's
Yeah,
Corbin Carroll.
I went with. Yeah. Go ahead.
Corbin
Go ahead.
Carroll, James Outman, and Kodai Senga. I went with Corbin Carroll.
I did too. 25 home runs, 76 RBI, 285 average, so more than Gunnar, and a higher OPS than Gunnar too. So I know it's a regular season award, which you informed me before we recorded, but like you have to mention the postseason as well. Just an instrumental player at
Yeah.
his young age, I feel like is amazing in the postseason. And regular season as well, he was pretty much unstoppable. Great
Yeah.
base runner, great defender. He truly is looking like he can be the complete package.
Yeah, 25 home runs, 54 stolen bases, and 10 triples as a rookie. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
He was an all-star. That certainly gives you a whole lot of stock for becoming a rookie of the year. And for unfortunately, he did slow down a little bit in the second half, but he was still amazing. Still a 134 OPS plus, just all around amazing. 868 on base percent or OPS is fantastic for any young player. So it's got to go to Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, and I also wanted to mention that for a while there, he had the fastest first to home as far as like base running goes until Ellie De La Cruz, the 6'5" freakazoid, beat him
Yeah.
out for that one. So yeah, Corbin Carroll is just he's a sick player.
Oh yeah. But now let's get into our managers of the year. In the AL, your nominees are Bruce Bochy of the Rangers, Kevin Cash of the Rays, and Brandon Hyde of the Orioles. Who was your selection?
So I feel like you and I both agree that like when it comes to even like picking head coaches in the NFL, it's almost never the guy who did the best, at least in my opinion. It's always the guy who I think did something more impressive with what he had, and in my opinion, that goes to Brandon Hyde of the Baltimore Orioles. It says a lot about a manager to take that young of a team as far and as consistently good as they were in the postseason, or sorry, the regular season. And I know that they kind of like, fell flat on their face in the postseason, but like they still got there with that young group. And I feel like that's all can be attributed to him.
Yeah.
So I really like what he did.
Yeah, I went with Brandon Hyde. I think he's the obvious winner. Kevin Cash and the Rays, you couldn't even beat out Brandon Hyde for the division. And for Bruce Bochy and the Rangers, they certainly didn't look good for multiple stints throughout the season. Yeah, I know they just won the World Series. Playoffs don't matter. And I think for Bruce Bochy, the biggest thing is he comes in after they were significantly below 500. I think they were 25
Yeah.
games below 500 last season, maybe more, and turns this team around. But that was with the help of a lot of signings that
Yeah.
certainly changed the ways. So yeah, it had to go to Brandon Hyde for me. You didn't get swept once all season. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the National League. Your nominees are Craig Counsell of the Brewers, Skip Shoemaker of the Marlins, and Brian Snitker of the Atlanta Braves.
Another obvious one for me, it's got to be Brian Snitker. I mean, what's most impressive to me is the cohesiveness of the team. They are more of a team than anybody else in the league, in my opinion. The Atlanta Braves are,
Yeah.
and what I mean by that is I feel like everybody enjoys who's on the team. They all enjoy like the fans, and they play very well together. They feel like a real team. And I feel like that starts with Snicker and kind of like, showing the players the narrative. And I also have another point with him. The Braves all season long had like a constant pool of talent. And they were all like, it seemed like when their name was called, they were ready to go. And I think that's also attributed to Brian Snicker as well.
Yeah, I think Snit, obviously it's I believe it was his winningest season with the Braves. To me, it's Skip Shoemaker of the Marlins. I think he's easily the guy in my mind. Like, you look at that Marlins team, they are perennially one of the worst teams in the division. They come out, they have a great season. 84-78 is great, regardless of whatever you want to say. It's great. And the fact that they, looking back, even just immediately back to 2022, like they weren't a good team. 69-93, not good. Skip Shoemaker comes in to replace Don Mattingly, immediately makes a difference, immediately brings players in, and it just shows some players off that we never would have thought of. And made them efficient players, made them guys that add to their win probability. And I would love to have said Snitker, but when I look at the aspects outside of just winning a game, I still question his decision-making a lot. Maybe that's just a matter of me being, a stuck-up, entitled baseball fan with my team. But
Yeah.
I still question I question some of his decision-making. Pitching changes, pinch hitters, even just lineups in general. So maybe just because I have this microscope on the Atlanta Braves at all times, maybe it skews my view of Snit. Still respect him wholeheartedly as the manager of this team and deserves his job 100%. But to me, Skip Shoemaker was the manager of the year. I think Snitker's just been consistent for years.
Okay, fair.
All right, let's get into Cy Youngs. AL Cy Young winner. I got a feeling I know where you're heading with this, but the nominees are Garrett Cole of the New York Yankees, Kevin Gausman of the Toronto Blue Jays, and Sonny Gray of the Minnesota Twins.
I just feel like Garrett Cole is way better than those two guys.
Yeah.
Had an amazing season. Second in ERA out of the entire MLB, actually, 2.63. He was tied for first with Framber Valdez for strikeouts. He was tied for third in complete games, third in innings pitched, fifth in strikeouts in the MLB, and third in the AL. George Pickens. George Pickens.
Nice.
Garrett Cole.
Nice.
Garrett Cole did all that with a shitty offense, and honestly, still had a good win total at the end of the season too. So yeah, shout out Garrett Cole. He is by far my AL Cy Young.
Yeah.
And it'll be his first Cy Young in his entire career, which is
That's
even more
crazy.
surprising that he hadn't done it already.
Yeah, that is crazy that he's never won one. Okay, since this is predictions, I think it's going to Garrett Cole. If I had a vote, I probably would have voted for Sonny Gray.
Okay.
One big reason, 0.39 home runs per nine in 184 innings pitched is actually insane. Like, that just doesn't happen. Um, and Sonny Gray was genuinely one of the best in the league all year. He led the entire MLB in FIP, fielding independent pitching, and of course led the entire MLB in home runs per nine. Yeah, I loved what he had to offer this season, but Garrett Cole has the shiny stats. He has the complete game shutouts. He has the more innings pitched, more innings per game. So I think it goes to Garrett Cole. But if I had a vote, it'd go to Sonny Gray.
That's fair.
All right, National League. This one, I think there's like some discussion to be had. Your nominees are Zach Gallen of the Diamondbacks, Blake Snell of the Padres, and Logan Webb of the San Francisco Giants.
Give me Blake Snell here, Grayson. I like Blake Snell the best. Lowest ERA in the entire MLB. Tied for third in strikeouts in the MLB. Fifth in home runs given up. Lowest amount of earned runs given up. I think Zach Gallen had a more impressive season, like just overall looking at his team, obviously. But Blake Snell, man, was just lights out. I actually think Blake Snell was probably better than Garrett Cole, in my opinion, as far as pitchers go. It's just Blake Snell was on a very, very bad team.
Yeah, the second half of Blake Snell's season, I obviously am going with Blake Snell, and primarily because of the second half of the season.
Yes.
From July 1st to the end of the season, he had a 1.35 ERA in 93 innings pitched. That's crazy. That is some shit that just does not happen. I love home runs per nine in this modern era of baseball. A .75 is amazing. He also left runners on base 86.7% of the time. He was walking at an alarming rate, but he wasn't letting that earn runs, and that's huge.
Yep.
So yeah, I had to go Blake Snell.
Yeah, I wanted to give it to Zach Gallen. I like Zach Gallen better, but Zach Gallen just doesn't. He doesn't have the stats to back it up against Blake Snell. Blake Snell was just lights out.
Yeah, Gallen started giving up a few too many runs in his outings. But let's get into the big one, the MVP award. And as much as I want to say for the American League that it's going to be any of these other nominees, your first nominee is Shohei Ohtani. Your next two, Corey Seager and Marcus Semien of the Texas Rangers. I would love to say it's going to be Corey Seager. I would. He had a fantastic season. He led in so many stats. He doesn't pitch. I'm sorry. He doesn't. And he's also going to have to hit 50-plus home runs and pitch to beat Shohei Ohtani, which just isn't going to happen. Unfortunately, you lead the MLB in slugging slugging, OPS plus. You lead the American League in home runs, on base percentage, total bases, and as a pitcher, you have 132 innings pitched, a 3.14 ERA, and you struck out 167 batters. He's the GOAT. It's crazy. And he's a free agent.
Even crazier.
Oh, my God.
Imagine if somehow he just goes back to the Angels.
There's a 0% chance, honestly.
Oh, God. Yeah, but shout out Corey Seager, though. What a season he had.
Yeah, but Corey Seager was
not
great.
Ohtani.
No, he's not, unfortunately. And Marcus Semien I don't even know who the fuck got him on that list. But I would like to shout out Corey Seager. He had a great year. 42 doubles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost
NL MVP was probably a little bit closer, though.
Yeah, NL MVP is certainly closer. But for Corey Seager, he also just didn't play enough games. 119 games, missed quite a bit of time. Took a while for his batting average and all of his counting statistics to be, his average statistics to be like qualified. So that definitely threw him off a little bit. But let's talk National League. Obviously, you know where I'm going. But your nominees, Ronald Acuna Jr., Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman. I, of course, took Ronald Acuna. Plain and simple, It's Ronald Acuna Jr. He's the MVP. Nobody's ever done 40-70.
Yeah, I went with Ronald Acuna as well, and it's goes into defensively too. He can throw baseballs on a line. What was his? What did he top out at in as far as like outfield throws?
It was high. I don't remember.
He was in triple digits, and he didn't even
Yeah.
like run up. He just took a step and launched it. Yeah, it's got to be Ronald Acuna, just defensively and offensively. As you mentioned, base running as well. He's the complete guy. Home runs are there, power
Yeah.
hitter, and clutch too. He is the player that you want.
Like I haven't brought up any baseball savant nerd stat shit. I'm going
There's plenty,
for Ronald Acuna.
Okay, here we go. So I'll just
all right. Yeah. Okay. When you're looking at percentiles in the MLB, batting run value, 100th percentile.
Wow.
Expected weighted on base average, 100th. Expected batting average, 100th. Expected slugging, 100th percentile. Average exit velocity, 100th percentile. Hard hit percentage, 98th percentile. And strikeout percentage, the 97th percentile. That doesn't happen. Nobody does that. Also, fielding wise, arm value, 96th percentile. Arm strength, 98th percentile. He was averaging throwing the ball in like a 95 on any play where where the ball was in play. His max exit velocity this season on a hit was 121.2. His average exit velocity, 94.7.
Oh my god!
On any ball that he reached base safely on.
Wow.
That's insane. And he only struck out. He literally, prior to this season, his lowest strikeout percentage was 23.6, which he put up both in 2022 and 2021. In 2023, his strikeout percentage was 11.4.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the guy
off like
didn't strike out. It was crazy. Crazy. Just absolutely insane. Doesn't matter what pitch you threw him. None of them were beating him. Actually, out of all of the pitches, fastballs, breaking balls, and off-speed pitches, he had a home run off of any of them. Pretty interesting stat there.
Do some guys not do that?
There's some guys that just like don't get home runs off changeups.
But they'll hit like 30 a season.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I actually never even thought about that before.
Yeah, 23 home runs off fastballs. But yeah, that's my spiel. Ronald Acuna is the MVP. Bill Plaschke, you can suck my cock.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, even how amazing Acuna is, Mookie and Freddie Freeman are awesome too.
Oh yeah, Mookie had a great season. I'll give it up to him. Yeah, he didn't lead the National League in any stats. Fantastic season, Mookie. Woo! Sorry, I had to.
Damn. I like it.
I'll never forget Mookie winning MVP in 2018. Don't make it sound like I hate Mookie Betts. I just love Ronald Acuna.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts batted .364 across 136 games in 2018. Nobody can take that from him.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, don't forget about that. I don't think there's ever been a player where I was like, yeah, that guy's the MVP more than Mookie Betts in the AL in 2018. Mike Trout was close. Yeah, Mike Trout was close that season, but yeah, he had 28 first place votes. Mike Trout had 1, and JD Martinez had 1. And JD Martinez was Mookie Betts' teammate.
Damn.
All right. That is all of the MLB Awards predictions. That was fun. I think we're going to be right on possibly all of them.
Yeah, what was the one that we disagreed on?
We disagreed on NL Manager of the Year.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see it going your way or my way, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Or
Maybe
we
more
could
Snitker.
actually we could be wrong on all of these. Except the
That is
AL
true.
the AL MVP is the only one we can't be wrong on.
Yeah.
That one's going nowhere but Shohei Ohtani's way.
Yeah.
All right. Anything in the MLB you want to talk about before we move on? I know Silver Sluggers came out. I'm not going through the whole list.
Yeah, no, we don't have to do
But
that.
yeah, we'll start talking about free agency coming up soon. Maybe we'll start doing some lists to recap the season, like we did with the NFL last year.
That'd be fun.
I'll think
Yeah.
about it. I'll think about it. We've got a busy slate with the NFL still going on, so we'll see what happens. But for the meantime, you said you don't have anything in particular you want to talk about for the MLB?
No, not with the MLB. I do have a good MLB question for you, but that is obviously
Okay,
for question time.
cool.
So,
Shout out Shohei Ohtani for donating like 60,000 baseball gloves to Japanese schools.
wow. Yeah, big time.
Yeah, I saw that before we started recording. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But
let me go to my Instagram and see if I have anything to add about baseball. I don't think I
okay,
do.
yeah, go ahead, take a look.
Stuff that I saved.
I guess I can go through some headlines in the MLB. Yoshinobu Yamamoto of the Japanese League, 25-year-old pitcher, is officially going to be a free agent in the MLB. That's a huge deal. Like CBS has him ranked as the second best available free agent, and that's only behind Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's ahead of Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman, Aaron Nola, Blake Snell, Eduardo Rodriguez, Marcus Stroman. Yeah,
And he's never even played in the MLB yet.
yeah. There's also a KBO player, Jung-Hoo Lee, who's 25 years old, center fielder, number 15 on this list. He's ahead of Lourdes Gurriel
Oh, wow.
as a free agent. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to MLB news, by the way.
Okay.
Not
Well,
much.
then, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the Premier League. We have a solid weekend ahead of us. Not the best matchups, but things can certainly happen here. We'll start off with, honestly, all the good matches are on Sunday. So we're starting off with Aston Villa versus Fulham on Sunday morning. Fulham's not very good. I'm well aware of that. I just wanted to talk about them because we're getting to this point where there's not a lot of fantastic matchups, so I just want to talk about some teams.
Yeah, okay. For sure, yeah. Fulham, like you said, has not been that great, but Aston Villa are coming off of a horrible Premier League loss, 2-0 to Nottingham Forest, which is not very good at all. But Fulham did lose to Manchester United, which is horrible. You
Yeah.
should beat Manchester United.
Yeah. What? They're in like the relegation zone or something, right?
Yeah, that feels like it.
Also, I know I've made jokes out of it. Scott McTominay almost scored a goal, but he got ruled offsides in that game against Fulham. I just wanted to bring that up.
That's worth it.
Yeah, look, Fulham is
man.
just it is a bunch of players that either aren't good or used to be good on the same team.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Williams still looks
Polina.
strong with him.
Polina's awesome.
Yeah, Polina is awesome. I think Williams pretty good too. He's just not as effective as he used to be.
Yeah.
I think with Fulham, what's kind of hurting you is not really a striker at Fulham anymore.
Yeah.
I think Alexander Mitrovic was a very, very underrated striker for Fulham. And you did sign Raul Jimenez from, oh my gosh, I'm blanking, Wolverhampton. But, I guess he hasn't really worked his way out there yet. He's coming off the bench in this game. And this Rodrigo Munoz kid isn't getting it done either. So, yeah, Fulham can't score goals.
Yeah, that's an issue in soccer.
It is.
It definitely is.
Big one.
But Aston Villa certainly knows how to score some goals. They're fifth right now in the table. And they've got a 10-goal differential, but I don't know why, but I feel like they could play better.
Yeah, that's fair.
They
They
lost
definitely
to
have the.
Nottingham Forest last week, 2-0.
Yeah, didn't even put up a goal.
Yeah, really bad
Um,
showing from Ollie Watkins, and Emiliano Martinez. Did you see
yeah,
the? Did
terrible.
you see the failed save that was kind of an own
I actually
goal,
didn't.
kind of not?
I did not.
I believe that was against Nottingham Forest. It might have been um, the one goal he gave up against Alkmaar in the Europa League. Was it? No, I don't think so. I think it was against Nottingham Forest. It was bad. He saved it, goes straight up, and he goes towards the line to gather it, and it just kind of goes over the line as he catches it.
Oh God.
It was bad. A lot of people were
Yep.
very mad at him for that. Um, but yeah, look, Aston Villa is just a better team, undoubtedly. Like
Yep.
they've scored, I think, the third most goals in the league with 26, only behind Man City and Newcastle. They've been fantastic. Fulham simply cannot score. They have only scored 9 goals. That is tied for second to last with Bournemouth and Sheffield United. Only Burnley worse than them. Luton Town has scored more goals than Fulham.
Hell
That
yeah.
tells the story. Um, yeah, look, there's no way Fulham wins. It's kind of the way I see it.
Nah. Yeah, I'm gonna go like maybe I don't know, 2-0 Villa. Like that's a safe one.
Yeah, like despite not scoring last week, um, they still averaged 2.4 goals per game. Um, that's crazy. I'm gonna
They actually
go.
had more expected goals than Manchester United in that 1-0 loss.
Not surprised. Um,
No.
yeah, Fulham just doesn't score, and they don't keep clean sheets. Aston Villa does score a lot, and they also don't keep clean sheets. I'm gonna go Villa 3-1.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I'll go
Yeah, I
Villa
like that.
3-1. Our next game, surprisingly important. West Ham versus Nottingham Forest. Never thought that this one would be one that I actually care about. And most people probably don't. But this is number 12 versus number 13. And this is just a continuation of a horrible skid by West Ham.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now. They lined up differently in their 3-2 loss to Brentford. They ran just a straight 4-4-2, which is by far my least favorite formation of all time. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, you had Jared Bowen who played striker with Mikel Antonio. Who Jared Bowen actually scored a goal. For me, it's an easy fix for West Ham. You replace Mikel Antonio with Jared Bowen, and you go back to your same formation. I don't know what
Yes.
the fuck this 4-4-2 is with your loaded midfield that you have. You need 3 center mids if you're West Ham. You need all of them out there on the pitch at
Agreed.
the same time. But Mohamed Kudus, though, did you see his fucking goal against Brentford? Oh my
Yeah.
god,
That was amazing.
ridiculous. Yeah, I love that guy. Wish Chelsea could have gotten there first, but we bought a billion other people instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll turn it over to you now. I don't really know what to think. I kind of like Nottingham Forest in this one. I'm not gonna lie.
I do as well. West Ham is on such a bad run right now. Um, the only team that is, or sorry, not the only team, Burnley and West Ham, the only teams that have lost their last 3 Premier League matches. Um, it just doesn't look good, man. And Nottingham Forest coming off of obviously a big win against Aston Villa, and you know they lost to Liverpool, which is fine, but you have draws with Luton Town and draws with Crystal Palace and Brentford. They're all over the place. I think for some reason being all over the place doesn't bode well for West Ham. So I'm gonna,
No, no,
yeah, I'm gonna go 1-1 draw.
that's a good one. Yeah, 1-1
Yeah,
draw.
I sat here and kept saying things, and I was like, but West Ham actually scores goals. So yeah, 1-1 draw.
I'm actually gonna take a 2-2 draw. Give
Okay.
them 2 more goals in that game. Yeah.
All right. Well, our third game here, Chelsea versus Man City.
Fuck.
Sunday, standalone at 11:30
No.
a.m. Eastern Time. It's interesting. And Cuckoo's still not back.
Training, not back though.
Yes, training not back in the lineup technically just yet. How are you feeling right now? The Tottenham match was weird. Nicholas Jackson scored a hat trick, but Tottenham was down to 9 men. I don't know what to think.
It's always a good win to beat Tottenham in such a humiliating fashion. I mean, 2 red cards and 4 goals. I love how we just murdered Tottenham. But, I just got to put this Nicholas Jackson hype to an end, man. This is the most phony fucking hat trick in Premier League history. And I actually kind of hate Nicholas Jackson for scoring this hat trick. A billion chances throughout the entire first half of the game, didn't score any of them like normal. It took him 9 men Tottenham in the 70th minute, where 9 men in the Premier League, Grayson, against a really good build-up team like Chelsea. I'll give that to Chelsea. We're fantastic and we look good when we pass the ball. Every through ball is through on goal. And when you have someone as pacey as Nicholas Jackson, that even furthers that notion that you're through on goal. Of course he's going to score a fucking hat trick. He better. And, oh my God, dude. Like, don't give me... Okay, I don't hate him for scoring this hat trick. I just hate the hype that it gets. Fair play to him for putting 3 goals away.
I was going to call you out for that one.
Yeah, but...
I see it as a confidence booster.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
That's what I see it as. He just needed to get it out of the way.
We'll see. In January, I still want Chelsea to go big on a striker.
Yeah. Well, Manchester City's going to beat the living shit out of you this weekend, I think.
I know they are.
They're on ridiculous form right now. Obviously, they smashed Bournemouth last week. They beat the shit out of Manchester United 2 weeks ago. They obviously beat up on young boys of Sweden, or not Sweden, Switzerland, in the Champions League. Look, they are on a rampage right now, and Erling Haaland is not slowing down for anyone. Mm-hmm. He is just back to his shit. So, yeah, this one's not going to go well. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think it is either. I mean, I love Chelsea's ability to create chances, but we're not going to be able to put them away against Manchester City. I'm not very confident. I'm confident that we can keep it close, but we're still going to lose.
Yeah. Also,
they won't be able to blow us out of the water. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Not so fun fact, unfortunately. The last 6 meetings between Manchester City and Chelsea, Manchester City has won.
Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't even like really feel like it.
Yeah,
but
Chelsea hasn't won or even drawn, but they haven't won since May 8th, 2021 against Man City.
So Tuchel, manager. That was the year
that was
in League.
Yeah, that was in the Prem, and you guys beat them the time before that.
Wait, May 8th? Was that the Champions League final? Was that the last time we beat Manchester City?
Sorry. No, May 29th was. That was the Champions League final.
Yeah, so we beat them when it counts. Fuck you guys. I don't give a shit about your 6 games against us.
They literally won a treble last year.
Bro, talk about the 7th game. What happened in the 7th game?
What happened on February 10th, 2019 when you guys lost 6-0? All right.
I don't know, man.
Enough. Manchester City 3-0.
Oh, don't give us nil. I'm going to go 2-1.
If Nicholas Jackson's a striker, it's 3-0.
Hey, he's the only one. You know what, though? I love Cole Palmer. He's settling in nice. He looks really good. Yeah, really,
we'll talk about him in questions time.
Okay. Fun little
preview. Not directly, but we'll talk about him. Question before we get into UCL. Who's the only team, or who has the longest unbeaten streak right now in the Premier League?
Unbeaten?
Yep.
Oh, is it Newcastle?
Sure fucking is. 6 games.
Yeah, you're welcome. Because wasn't it Tottenham before?
I think
it was.
It was. They were also just winning. They weren't just unbeaten. They were just winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Newcastle. Turning things around. Not in the Champions League, which we're about to talk about, but in the Prem, we are turning things around. But let's talk about match day 4 of the Champions League. The schedule wraps around. If you played them 2 weeks ago, you played them this week. And weird results. That's like the best way to sum this up. Weird results. I don't even want to talk about it. Dortmund 2, Newcastle 0.
They just I guess have the number there. I don't know what else it is, man.
Yeah.
I don't.
This makes it
Did you
real
watch the game?
hard for. No, I didn't. But this makes it real hard for us to move on.
No, yeah, it does.
Yeah. Which
It really does.
okay, am I gonna sound like a lame fan for saying I'm okay with us getting knocked out? Or I'd be okay if we go to the Europa League. Is that okay?
Nah, man. You gotta demand more.
I obviously demand more. I would rather win the Prem or at least be top. I'm focused on getting back to the Champions League next year.
That's fair. Yeah.
And our best way is to either go to the Europa League or win or get in the top 4 in the Prem, because I don't think this squad, considering we don't have Sandro Tonali and all of that, can actually get all the way through this tournament.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm not saying I want us to just not pay attention to the Champions League. I'm just saying I would like us to make it back next year.
Yeah. More consistency. Because I guess your whole idea is like you don't think you can win this year, so you're striving on just getting there. More consistent appearances. Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Look, a lot of these guys on our team have not played in Europe.
Yeah. That is true. I mean, like...
what? Oh, shit, Dan Byrne probably has never watched a fucking Champions League game.
Yeah, maybe.
But
that's fucking hilarious.
Shakhtar Donetsk won Barcelona 0. What the fuck? That's crazy.
I don't even know. I do not even know. I have nothing to say. I don't understand how this happened.
Yeah, well, I don't understand this one either. I was talking about how much I love Celtic matching up against Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid won 6-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. Antoine Griezmann is one of the best players in the world right now. Is that fair to say? He's playing insanely
I don't really
good.
know what he's doing right now. I haven't really heard much about him.
He's just been solid. It's 2 goals in this game. Same for Morata and then Lino and Saul.
Actually, you know
he's
what?
He's been really good.
Yeah, we got 4 matches, 4 goals in the Champions League, and 11 matches, 7 goals in La Liga. I mean, he's no Jude Bellingham, but that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's hard to beat Jude Bellingham right now, at least. Any other I have plenty more, but any ones that stick out to you results this week?
Is it really that hard to beat Jude Bellingham, Grayson?
Oh, yeah. Bellingham!
Dude,
Bellingham! Fucking love that video. Those videos are great.
I was holding that pose a little bit too long.
I'm sorry. I accidentally closed my tab and I needed to open it back up. But yeah, pick out some fixtures.
I think Milan PSG makes that group very, very interesting.
It does. And that also scares me for getting into the Europa League.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't like that. I don't want Milan turning up and just winning. Like, if they beat Dortmund next week and we don't at least draw PSG, we're fucked.
Yeah, and then obviously Copenhagen over Manchester United.
Yeah.
Somehow not really that surprising, but still a fixture that we just, I mean, I wanted to go into this one because I haven't even looked at the stats yet.
We talked about how it could happen.
Copenhagen actually had them on ball possession.
Yeah.
But Manchester United...
The biggest part was Marcus Rashford's red card.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure.
And it was definitely a red card. Don't argue that. Nobody can argue that. He wasn't even looking at the ball.
For sure, yeah. Copenhagen had more. They had 16 shots, 8 of them on target. Manchester United had 9 shots, 8 of them on target. So, yeah, fair play to Copenhagen, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, they were great. Real Sociedad beat Benfica 3-1, but Sociedad was up 3-0 at the half, actually after 21 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I remember checking in on that
Damn.
game a little bit after it started and being like, "Holy shit!" Yeah, you had a goal in the 6 minute from Moreno, goal in the 11th by Yarthabal, and a goal in the 21st by I'm not even going to attempt that one. Baronetsia? Sure, Baronetsia,
Baronetsia, I like it.
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Galatasaray and Bayern. I mean, it
Yeah,
took Bayern the 80th minute to score the first goal of the game, and then Harry Kane once again 6 minutes later puts adds the brace, and then Bayern answer back in stoppage time, but it was just too late. So honestly, like, shout out Bayern.
yeah.
I mean, they
Shout
held
out,
a very good team to no goals for 80 minutes. That's
yeah.
pretty impressive.
Shout out Braga. Didn't give up a goal to Jude Bellingham. Instead, gave up 3 goals. One to Brahim Diaz, one to Vinicius Jr., and one to Rodrigo.
Nice.
Yeah. Shout out. Good work. You stopped
Yeah,
Bellingham.
that's all that matters.
He
Oh
probably
man.
had an assist that I don't know about.
Honestly, let's check. Jude Bellingham stats are my favorite thing to do.
That's fair.
No, actually, I don't. He has one assist in the Champions League. I don't know if it came in that game though.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, he's still absurd. All right. Any other?
Yeah.
There's not many other results that we didn't bring up other than
No,
very boring
I
ones.
mean, we can talk about Red Star keeping it close with Leipzig,
Yeah.
and I mean, but that's really it. I mean, they still lost. So.
All right. Well, how about we get into questions time?
Oh, probably my new favorite part. Honestly, I love this.
It
segment.
has become very fun. And just because we're transitioning from soccer, I want to start and I want to ask you my soccer question.
Oh, cool. Let's do it.
Okay. Who do you want out of the Chelsea lineup when Nkunku comes back, and why is it Moises Caicedo?
I love Moises Caicedo.
Okay, go look at that lineup and tell me that he's not the one you'd take out.
The most recent one against Tottenham.
Yeah.
All right. Hang on, I'm pulling it up.
Because to
I
me,
mean,
you're not taking out Cole Palmer. Yeah, are you taking out
not.
Gallagher?
I feel like Gallagher's really earned his spot though. He's
That's what
been
I'm saying.
captain of the team. Well, now that Reece James is back, Reece James is captain. But I love how Conor Gallagher's earned it. That would be kind of fucked if we were to replace him.
Yeah.
Enzo's been fantastic. So I guess it is Moises Caicedo, but I really like Moises Caicedo a lot though. Maybe underrated opinion. Maybe it's Nicholas Jackson.
It could be, because Nkunku does play like a solid like false nine. I just don't think there's a lot of goal scoring ability around him outside of maybe Cole Palmer, who really he's been scoring goals a lot of the time on penalties.
Yep.
But there's not too much goal scoring ability to just take out a striker. I know Nicholas Jackson hasn't been clinical, but to take out a striker would be a hard look for this team.
Yeah, but then again, though, like you think of the way that like kind of Chelsea's build-up play goes, and maybe it wouldn't be that bad to go more center forward instead of striker base. But yeah, honestly, to answer your question, I would take out Nicholas Jackson. I think Moises Caicedo, he's not an N'Golo Kante, but he's pretty similar.
Okay,
I would say I like Moises Caicedo a lot. And yeah, that's my 2 cents. That's a good question.
Yeah, the biggest thing was like in my head, I was like, okay, it should be Cole Palmer, but it's not, and it's not gonna be.
I think Chelsea. It's very interesting to ask this question of a lot of positions because I want to flip a question. This isn't my Premier League question, but I want to ask you a Chelsea question. When Ben Chilwell comes back, do you take out Colwill and leave in Disasi?
Yeah, see, I don't know. Do you go back to a 5 at the back?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. It is
tough.
Very difficult.
Okay. Do we like the random or should I keep it?
I like
soccer?
the random order. I think that's fun.
Okay. I'm gonna go MLB for you.
Okay.
So obviously the Braves lost. I think their third base coach, longtime third
Right.
base coach Ron Washington.
Yep.
How's he going to do in LA?
Uh, okay. Well, first of all, Shohei's gone. That's gonna hurt. Um, Mike Trout might get traded. That's not good. Um, yeah, I think they're gonna win like 55 games.
Okay. Assuming
I love Ron Washington.
assuming
I
that
don't want
they
anybody to think that that's not the case. I want
yeah.
them to lose so many games that he comes running back to us.
um, how do you think a guy like Ron Washington will do? Assuming that Mike Trout's going to get traded for prospects, how do you think he'll do like in years to come, cultivating those young guys?
He does a great
Hypothetically,
job. Certainly,
yeah.
he's not a hitting coach, but he is an amazing fielding coach.
Okay.
The amount of work and what he did for guys in this infield, the guys he's worked with, Freddie Freeman, one of the best defensive first basemen, one of the best scooping first basemen in the league right now. Ozzie Albies, whose glove has been phenomenal. Dansby Swanson, and now two-time Gold Glove winner. Austin Riley, who's been a Gold Glove nominee, I think twice now.
Andrelton
Orlando.
Simmons.
I don't know if Andrelton was on the team while Ron was. I could check, but he was obviously played a big role with Von Grissom in the offseason, who his defense got better. His offense just sucked, and that's what kind of pushed him down. Um I think to me, I'm looking at it right now. He's been with the Braves since 2017. I can't remember if Andrelton was on the team or not.
Hmm.
I really don't know. But yeah, look, Ron Washington is a fantastic infield coach, revolutionary. If he wants to work with the guys in LA, fantastic. There's just not a lot to work with.
Yeah. Fair.
Was that the end of your question? I know I kind of cut you off.
Yes.
Okay,
No, I asked my question, then I asked a follow up. So you
gotcha.
actually gave me two. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. Um, let's do the NFL question since you just
Ooh,
did
okay.
MLB. What does Trevor Lawrence have to do to be considered a top 5 quarterback in the league?
I feel like he has a lot of games where he throws for a really good amount of yards, but it's like one touchdown, one pick.
Yep.
I think he, yeah, I would say more touchdowns, less picks for him.
Yeah, I think that's an obvious go about it, but it's like when it comes down to the top 5 quarterbacks right now, or at least the top 5 quarterbacks going into the season, let's say,
Yep.
you're looking at Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Who was 5? Lamar?
Kirk. No, Lamar. Hmm. I don't know. Kirk or Lamar, I would say.
I
Number
don't think
5.
Kirk was number 5 coming into the season.
Ah.
When you're looking like preseason wise, I'm not putting him up there. Maybe Herbert coming into the season,
I
he
mean,
was hyped
Kenny
up.
Pickett's up there.
Okay. Okay. Kenny Pickett is probably in the running for bottom 5.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But yeah, what does Trevor Lawrence have to do to get into that class?
Yeah, that's a. Do you feel like Trevor Lawrence is better than Justin Herbert?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's
That's a really
maybe
hard
it's
one.
just yeah. They're I feel like they're pretty similar.
They
but
are similar. I think Herbert probably got off to a better start for his career. That makes him look a whole lot better. Herbert's now got 4 years under his belt, but he's been good the whole time.
Yeah.
Whereas Trevor had a very bad rookie year. I think everybody knows that, but doesn't blame it on him because Urban Meyer was his head coach. Yeah, I don't know. I would say most people probably just assume Justin Herbert is better at the moment, mainly
Yeah.
because of the numbers. Um,
Mhm.
but I think Trevor Lawrence by the end of this year will probably be considered better.
I agree too. But to go back to your question, I guess like if you wanted something that wasn't as obvious as like throwing more touchdowns, less picks, the only thing that I can think of is like maybe it's the market that he plays in. Like Jacksonville are six
Yeah,
and two, but nobody is really talking about him. And I feel like on top of that, he doesn't really have a superstar weapon that they can feed off of the attention from each other.
yeah, I
'Cause
agree.
I feel
I think
like
Etienne is
Calvin
forming
Ridley.
into that. Calvin Ridley is
Yeah,
forming into that. Neither of them are
yeah,
that. I actually really like that point because when we look at the guys that we've already mentioned, they all have that. Josh Allen has Stephon Diggs. Joe Burrow
yeah,
has Jamar Chase. Patrick Mahomes has Travis Kelce. Um, Jalen Hurts has AJ Brown. I guess would be his second in
yeah.
command. Um,
Herbert has
Herbert
Keenan
has
Allen,
Keenan
Mike
Allen
Williams,
and Austin Eckler.
and Austin Eckler. Yeah,
So yeah, they all have somebody to play off of. Trevor doesn't quite have it, but maybe maybe some people consider Etienne to be further ahead of him. So yeah, I
wow.
thought it was an
I
interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, no, that's a good question because it's definitely like I've noticed it too. I really have with him not getting a lot of attention. I'm very far away right now.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. I really like my Prem question, so I'm gonna no because you asked football, so I have to go Prem. Okay, that's fine. So I don't know if you've noticed it, but I think it's something kind of obvious to me. Not to say that you're like stupid for not noticing it if you haven't, but do you think the lean more towards gym stuff with soccer athletes has limited player creativity in today's game in 2023?
I don't know. I think saying it's limiting is unfair because it also we're seeing things that we haven't seen in the past happen. I think on in a creative idea, yeah, look, players are going to be more creative if all of the work they're doing is on the field. But
Mhm.
I think physical activity and physical strength and physique have become a much more important idea in soccer, especially. I think it's always been present in your traditional sports, especially American sports. But in soccer, it hasn't always been as much about physical strength.
Yep.
Um, Now we're definitely seeing where it's like, okay, if I want to be, if I want to, as a defender, if I want to stop Erling Haaland, who is a giant, I need to be strong. Whereas if I wanted to stop Thierry Henry, I needed to be fast and I needed to have great footwork.
Yeah.
I think that's where the evolution comes on both sides. If it's all about matching the best players, and if the best players in the world, in your league at least, the best players in your league are the most physically imposing, you need to match that. I don't think
Yep.
in Liga teams and players are super focused on strength when you're playing against PSG. And in the past couple of years, the guys you've needed to stop are Neymar, Messi, Mbappe. Like, those aren't the guys that you need strength to stop. And maybe they are focusing on strength, and that's what's making PSG kind of dominate some of those teams.
Yeah. That was a really good point you made earlier, how you brought up like how the gym is a much bigger deal in American sports.
Yes.
And I feel like because I saw this post on Instagram and they were asking the question, and maybe it's more of a European idea that the gym is limiting player creativity. And us
Yeah.
Americans, though, with us watching these 6'4", 225 wide receivers run 4.4s at NFL combines, maybe it's just a little bit more interesting to people like you and I to see like just freak of natures in soccer now,
Yeah.
like Kemavinga, people like that,
Yeah.
that are just like ridiculous athletes, and like the way that their body is too. But then again, like it's interesting to think about that. Like throughout Ronaldo's career, he is obviously a big gym guy,
Yeah, but he was
and
never getting
nobody.
bigger.
Yeah, just more kind
His
of
was
like
all
cut
fit.
and
Yeah, his
lean.
was like fitness, um, almost like glamour muscles that most people would refer to him as.
Uh, Fair
For
enough.
him,
Yeah.
like that was the kind of stuff, and that was, I think, more garnering to his image than how he played.
Interesting.
Because like
Interesting.
Messi didn't have to take his fucking shirt off all the time. Actually, he
Yeah.
doesn't.
No, he really doesn't.
He doesn't really take his shirt off ever.
Uh-uh.
So I don't know. I think it's definitely an interesting concept. I'm glad you made me think about it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, what you got? MLB.
Yeah. With free agency getting started, what free agent do you want on the Yankees that is not Shohei Ohtani?
Yamamoto, another Japanese guy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Just I feel like he's is it fair to say the most realistic because there has been actual rumors of the Yankees pushing towards him?
Yes and no, I guess. Yamamoto's an interesting one. Like there's going to be a lot of teams interested. The Giants are definitely one of them. That's the thing. A lot of Japanese players want to go to the West Coast because um, a lot of Japanese immigrants go to the West Coast.
Yeah,
They're going to
that is
have
true.
much better access to translators, possibly a much bigger audience, at least
Yeah.
of their home fans that kind of relate to them, understand their culture, things of that sort. I think that was a big part for, obviously Shohei, but then now we see other guys going other places. Kodai Senga goes to the Mets, Masataka Yoshida going to the Red Sox. Guys are kind of spreading out, but big thing is staying coastal. Don't know why in particular. That seems to be a trend. You don't see a lot of Japanese players in Kansas City.
Never in the middle of the country. Yeah, I'm actually looking at the free agents list here. These are a lot of interesting guys. Like
That
Clayton
is,
Kershaw's on here. Um,
yeah. Personally, for my team, the Braves, I want Aaron Nola because I want to fist fuck the Phillies with their own guy. But
oh my gosh.
that's just my opinion.
Wow. I don't know. Like I if we're not going to go big on Yamamoto, I'm kind of looking at some of these older, like decent hitters, like Justin Turner. I
Yeah,
feel like could be good in New York. Maybe Josh Hader as a bullpen guy. I don't necessarily hate our bullpen.
I would love Josh Hader on the Braves.
Yeah, he would be
Oh
fantastic.
man.
Really, anywhere he goes. Matt Chapman, if we want to go big though, because he's not that old yet.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's fair. 30.
I like Matt Chapman too. I know I'm looking at a lot of
Can I
third basemen,
recommend
but
one for you?
yes. And then I have one to say
Okay,
after you recommend.
Jeimer Candelario.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know who that is.
He was on the Nationals. Then he went to the Cubs at the trade deadline. First base, third base guy. Fantastic at getting on base.
Yeah, that's definitely something the Yankees could use.
He was a target of theirs at the trade deadline until they stopped trying to buy.
Okay. What do you think about Brandon Crawford to not have it all up to Anthony Volpe at shortstop? No.
No, please don't. Don't do that.
Why not?
Don't do that to yourself, dude. He's gonna hit for like 200.
Has he really not been hitting that great lately?
No, I just
Damn.
think it's gonna keep going down. Also, isn't his brother-in-law Garrett Cole?
Yes, it is.
That would be funny. Maybe
Build the family.
that's the only reason I want them to be on the same team.
Yeah.
I think you guys should also be interested in
Pretty
Jordan
toxic,
Hicks
too.
out of the bullpen.
I would like that. Yeah, I would like him. But yeah, Yamamoto is like my big one though, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, don't
Yep.
sleep on Shota Imanaga, I believe is his name. He's 30 years old, but he's coming from Japan as well. Left-handed pitcher, one to look out for. He's got the years under his belt to have an immediate impact in the MLB, which I think is big.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I have an NFL question written down here, but kind of reading it now, I think it's kind of boring. So I'm going to go this route
Okay.
instead. Is CJ Stroud having a better season than Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, I gotta look at Patrick's stats. I haven't really looked at him.
Actually, don't really know what he's at either.
Let's see. The picks are the big part to me. Patrick Mahomes thrown 8
Yes.
picks, but there is other stats, and I'd like to look at CJ's now. Let me pull up Stroud's stats, compare them side by side.
Yep.
Have they played the same amount of games?
The Chiefs are on a bye week this week, right?
Yeah.
I think the Texans have already had theirs, if I'm not mistaken.
They did. Okay. So Patrick Mahomes has played one more game. So after this week, when they've played the same amount of games, Stroud will probably have more passing yards. He won't catch him in QBR, which is a big deal.
No.
Mahomes, despite having 8 picks to CJ Stroud's 1, Patrick Mahomes' QBR is fantastic, 73. Damn.
But that's 7 interceptions and only 3 touchdowns less right now.
Yeah. It's hard to objectively compare these two when you keep in mind the fact that CJ Stroud is a rookie. It's hard to say it's not better because it's more impressive what he's doing because he has 0 years under his belt.
Yeah.
So I gotta give better to Mahomes because his team is winning and he's the reason. And his team's winning more. But I think more impressive season I'm giving to CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I mirror that answer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I just can't get over 14 touchdowns, 1 interception, dude.
It is crazy.
That's ridiculous.
All right.
Damn, those are some good questions.
Yeah, that was a very fun questions time. And yeah, I think that's the entire episode. Make sure if you're watching this right now on YouTube, you look at me and you look at those links that are about to pop up right at the bottom of the screen right now. They're there right now. Look at those. All of those names. You just type them right in. It tells you exactly where to type them into as well. And you click follow.
Wow.
And you interact with the content on there. There's not much content. That's my bad. But there will be. Down the road, there will be plenty more content coming there. But if you want to stay up to date on all of our episodes and when they come out, make sure you're following the Instagram. That's kind of the easiest one to be active on. So I try to stay the most active there. But make sure you're liking, subscribing, commenting on YouTube. Make sure if you're on the podcast platforms and you're listening to me right now, you're following us on that podcast platform and you rate us 5 stars. On Spotify, if you've listened to 3 episodes, you can rate us 5 stars. And on Apple Music, you don't even have to listen to an episode, but I'd assume you are because you hear me right now. Yeah, make sure to follow us on all the socials and make sure you share the podcast with everyone. Share it on your Instagram story if you'd like, or if you wouldn't like to, share it on your Instagram story. But for now, Luke, anything else for the people?
No.
Let's not do
nothing
this.
else for the people.
No,
I'm
please
just
don't
gonna
do the ASMR. It's gonna make it hell for when I try to edit this.
No, just stay tuned for next episode. I think I'm gonna. Well, I don't know about next episode because I have a really interesting thing about Chelsea that I want to bring up to you. I think it could probably lead to like a 15-minute discussion about just this one topic in particular.
Okay.
And it is transfer related, so I may save it. But I'm very eager to get your opinion on this, so I might ask it next episode.
Okay.
Who knows?
We'll look forward to it, and also look forward
Yeah.
to next week's episode. Me and Colin will be with you on Monday. Me and Luke back on Friday. We will see y'all next week. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the football. Peace.